I love this song. All right, hello everybody, and welcome to the aftermath of AEW Collision. Yes, folks, say it with me. After the collision, we sift through
the Wreckage.
The Wreckage, brought to you by channelattitude.com. Please subscribe for $5 a month, and the Hamin Media Group. This is The Wreckage with me, Christopher Ambs. That's AMBS, like lambs with no L, or bullshit first thing in the morning. Don't worry, if you ever forget how to spell my last name, I'll just remind you at the beginning of every fucking show I do. Jimmy's AI is acting up. We have it under good authority that he'll be showing up eventually here, but, you know, Australia, AI, he's trying to figure out how to boot himself up. But joining me to start the show, the MVP, the EVP, the VET, Vet. Hello, Vet. Welcome to the show. How you doing?
Hi, Chris. Good to see you again.
Hi. Vet is sounding like he's an AI too, which is fun. How's your week been, Vet?
Well, it's been pretty, it's pretty good. Pretty good week. All things considered.
Good deal, good deal. Have you had a chance to watch the NXT pay-per-view from last night?
Absolutely not. It was everything I could do to cram Collision in.
Well, that's okay. You're not missing much. Let's just say...
I'm not looking forward to it. Let's put it that way. Oh, man.
Man, you know,
I saw Punk and Shawn Michaels. I did see that.
Yeah, right. and Punk was wearing a Bret Hart hoodie, so...
Right. He's been wearing that since Friday.
I love it. Sean was like, no, what's that about? I love it. Yeah. Good stuff. Anyway, Jimmy, if you're still on there, can you turn the fucking music down? God damn it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Didn't think about that part.
Fucking hell. Anyway, welcome to the show, everybody. We already got Lab Rat and Zane in the chat. Welcome, guys. Welcome to everybody who hasn't showed up yet but will. To all of you people, welcome. We are happy to have you. Yeah, well, let's go ahead and talk a little bit, I guess, about wrestling news. WWE can use Yeet again. Hooray!
Oof. Man, that was a little touch and go there for a second. I was worried.
Yeah, because WWE doesn't like win lawsuits or anything. It's a real chance that they weren't going to be allowed to use it.
And that's all the news we have this week.
And that's been your news for wrestling. Yeah, but okay. Also, I guess we'll talk about it a little more after we go over the main event. But Vet, can Bryan Danielson keep from getting injured? Like,
no.
Holy fuck, man.
No, he cannot.
Well, you know what he'll do? He'll just fine everybody who injures him. Andrade's got a fine, and yeah, he's gonna fine him for injuring him. Fuck that guy. Also, I guess Bryan Danielson is the hall monitor of AEW, so that's good to hear.
Yeah, or the appointed or self-appointed scapegoat for everything.
That's been what I've been thinking about too. Is, you know, what's been happening very much seems like Tony Khan trying to save face, right? I mean, it started with, you know, like, oh, you know, we had to do it. It was the only thing that we could do because I feared for my life. And then even his own talent were like, that's nonsense. Like I remember reading the fucking comments from Samoa Joe and just being like, well, I didn't fear for mine. That's all I can say. Like, that's like the nicest way of Samoa Joe just being like, you're a pussy and your life wasn't in danger, you fucking wimp. But yeah, since then it's been a lot of, you know, oh, it was a joint decision. The decision was out of my hands. it was like, and now it seems more and more like we're hearing, Brian Danielson basically fired CM Punk, and I didn't know anything about it. And I just showed up to work a couple of days later, and they told me, Tony, we fired CM Punk, and I had to go with it because they had me over a barrel, and I couldn't reverse the decision or anything. Like, that seems to be the fucking attitude out of AEW right now, which is just, I mean, come on, guys, fuck.
The timing of it is very suspect. You know, you had plenty of time, weeks, months even, where you could have said any of this stuff, but it's only after he makes his debut for WWE that this stuff comes out, which you should just do like what you've been doing and pretend like none of this ever happened. I mean, that would have been the move. I think the thing that, internet marks are always going to take everything that any little morsel of information that comes out, and they're going to run any which way with it, right? But I think the real problem is, ultimately, Tony came on television and said the decision was mine alone. If he had never said that already in public, on a broadcast, then, maybe any of this would be a little more palatable. But you said that. So now either that was a lie or this is a lie. So I think it's probably a case of like, the way I take it is, ultimately it is his decision, just like everything else is.
Yeah.
And if that's the case, if you're going to be the guy that takes everything on your shoulders, it's my company, it's my money, it's my creative, it's my, everything, then I don't need to hear about your committee. I don't need to know who was on your committee. I don't need Brian Danielson being on the committee. Okay. That's the only person we even know. There was a third guy that they didn't even name. So it's like, what good is any of this? Unless you're just trying to make excuses for no one. You owe no one an explanation. You owe no one an apology. You made your business decision. Doesn't matter. Even if it was somebody having Tony over a barrel, it's still, he's the face of it. It's like the way we blame our president for everything that happens in this country, whether he has anything to do with it or not. You are the face of it. Vince McMahon was the face of it. Everything's his fault. You take all the credit, Obama. You get all the blame. Yeah. So, with that, all that is just, my main point is, you don't have to come on TV and say anything or explain anything to anybody. But if you do, you better stick with whatever whatever you throw out there, I think. That's just me as a person that tries to have integrity. I try to stand by the things I say, and, I'm not even in those kind of position of responsibilities. If I were, I certainly would be even more true to my own character. So I would just suggest that maybe just don't say things in public anymore. If you don't like the backlash, if Twitter hurts your feelings, if any of the stuff makes you uncomfortable or stressed out or any of these things, you don't have to be out there doing it, man. It's good to promote things, but you don't have to be like saying a bunch of bullshit either.
Yeah, no, 100%. And like you said, he doesn't really owe anyone any explanations. There's not a board of governors for AEW. He's the man. He's the guy. That's his fucking business, right? That's like, if somebody came up to my dad and tried to tell him what he was doing with his business wrong, my dad would just get the fuck out of here. I don't give a fuck what you have to say, right? That's my business. I can do whatever I want, but there's just something to it. And there's a couple of things, there's a couple of points I wanted to hit on from what you said. First of all, the ability to say, I was wrong, I'm sorry, is shockingly low, like in today's modern era. Like, and it's something that we really need to bring back, like with full force. The ability for somebody to say, you know what, I made a mistake and I'm sorry. And I know I can't fix the problem or whatever, but I want you to know that I understand I made a mistake and I'm sorry for it. that's not something that needs to be said at all times. And I'm not saying that more people should apologize for things, because God knows people keep trying to apologize to cancel mobs and it doesn't fucking work. But, you know, if you're in a situation where you really did make a mistake and you really do understand that you made a mistake, it's okay to just say, all right, mea culpa, my bad. That's my fault, right? And then second, the idea that people just take whatever they hear on the internet and just run with it. I've been watching Twitter, like just I go on Twitter and I see conversations that my friends are having, because I don't bother talking to fucking people I don't know on Twitter, because fuck that. I don't have the time or the energy for it. But I go
You'll
on
never
there and I'll
catch me
see
doing that.
I'll go on there and I'll see Jimmy arguing with some fucking schmucks on Twitter, and I just laugh at the shit that they're fucking talking about. I've seen people already this week say that, oh, AEW was under representing their money, and really they made closer to $400 million. And I'm like, did they? Did they now? And then, you know, on the other side, there's me, right? There's me who's looking at it and I'm going, okay, I mean, okay. A private company who have absolutely no need to announce their, you know, their profits other than just to show off to the internet. They're telling me that they made $145 million, but they're not showing me any books. They're not showing me anything to show that they did that. I don't believe you, right? Like my base level on that thing is like, I don't believe you unless you show me the fucking books, right? That's one thing that WWE has to do because they're a publicly traded company, right? So they have to show me this is what we made, this is what we spent, et cetera, et cetera.
And they're still lying, but go ahead.
And it's still bullshit. Exactly. There's still 1,000 different ways that companies can fudge the numbers, right? Oh, that was a mistake 4 years later when there's a fucking investigation or whatever. And by that point, you've already spent the people's money who invested in your company, et cetera, et cetera. I get it. I get how Wall Street works. You fuck people as often as you possibly can. But that's a very good example of what you're talking about, where like people will hear something on the internet and just go in wildly different directions, right? I've heard people say, really, they made $400 million, and really they made minus $800 million. And like, you know, Tony Khan's broke now. And it's like, it's just like, Jesus fucking Christ, guys. Can we just pump the brakes a little bit? Like it's okay to just say, this is what was reported and just move on. You know, it doesn't have to be an argument about every fucking thing. But anyway, yeah, Jimmy, just fucking arguing with the dumbest.
Do you love it? Do you love it when people argue using they use a fact, a quote unquote fact that they heard somewhere but could never possibly personally know as part of their argument? You know, to like try to win an argument.
Those are definitely my favorite. Yeah. I know for a fact, I'm not going to tell you where I heard this from, but I know for a fact that, you know, and it's not just idiots. It's not just fucking idiot marks on the internet who do that. Dave fucking Meltzer does that. Do you know what I mean? Like people who are supposed to be respected in the wrestling journalism bubble, you know, they make up fucking stories.
Chris's speech from here henceforth will be in quotes. The whole thing
quotations.
in air quotes.
Everything's in quotations. Fucking everything. But you know, like he's like, oh, like well, you know, what really happened was, and what he means by what really happened is, this is what the Young Bucks told me about the situation. That's all he means. There's no legitimacy to that. It's just like, okay, my sources. You mean the Young Bucks? That's what you mean. That is what you're talking about. It's the boys. And I mean, no offense, because you've been one of the boys.
I asked around. I called around. I asked around. One Jackson, then the other Jackson.
Yeah, the boys can be full of shit. Bet like a lot of times they don't even know what the fuck they're talking about. So we're getting second and third and fourth hand information from people who are making things up, or who have a bone to pick, or who have a conflict of interest or whatever. And that's what we're supposed to believe in the wrestling journalism bubble. And it's like, man, people need to just, you know, have a healthy amount of skepticism for what they fucking read on the internet.
And that's bad enough, but now everybody's eating off that table. And I don't like it. Where Dave went wrong, in my opinion, is he, besides his opinions of matches and chronicling, like, you know, the history of things, like the trying to do his best to get like the attendance and the gates, and just basically just the facts, like reporting those type of things. The minute he started, whenever it could have been from the beginning, I don't know, I never read the Observer in my life, but whenever it was that he, you know, mixed in the rumors and the gossip in, like what people were telling him, no matter, even if he got like a way higher percentage of that stuff basically right, he should have just left that out, you know. But at least back in the time when he was doing that, he was kind of the only one doing it. So he carved out his place, and whether you like him, don't like him, whether you take or leave what he says, he earned that right. He's able to start his own cottage industry. Why shouldn't he? Somebody was going to. Why not him? You know, and then the Kellers of the world ate off that table and whatever. And now, you know, we've got this fucking these Housemans and these Saps and these other people that's just like, yeah. Even when I try to avoid it, you can't fully avoid it.
No.
But that's okay for me. I'm just worried that, you know, you've now, just like with anything, you've got a generation just growing up on this, and they just think that's how things are. And then you see how much it's really not that, right? I'll give you an example. This is a perfect example of how that world is not the wrestling fan base. You saw SmackDown, right?
Mm-hmm.
What happened when CM Punk dropped the line about punching people in the face? What kind of reaction did he get with that?
Yeah, he got like a half a crowd to react, maybe. The rest of them had no idea.
He got nobody to react. He just stood there awkwardly until people started chanting CM Punk while you could hear a pin drop. Because it's like I was saying the whole time, for everybody that was saying that's the money, and I felt like I was the only one saying there's no money in that, because nobody knows about that kind of shit, because only the most, you know, like hardcore of the internet bubble is paying attention to the backstage stuff, and most people just watch the TV. And that kind of proved it. Like, I felt vindicated in that moment, because it was
CM Punk,
a great line, but it fell flat.
He would have gotten a better fucking reaction if he had said some undercut, underhanded fucking thing about how he was gonna punch Triple H in the face. That would have gotten more of a reaction from the general audience, because that's who people know.
Yep. So, but that's the whole thing. Like that culture has even twisted, you know, people who are supposed to know better into their whole way of thinking changes. They think that, you know, they can't separate this small niche of a niche from what the average person that likes wrestling thinks about wrestling. So in that sense, I wish Dave had just been more of a history chronicler and less of a, you know, don't worry about what was going on behind the scenes. Supposedly, you could ask the guys if you wanted to know for yourself, but reporting on it hasn't really helped anything. So that kind of sucks. And it's only going to get worse now, because, you know, like I said, now that there's all these people eating off the table and they have way bigger followings, you know, for some reason, people would much rather, you know, pay 2 or 3 times what a Channel Attitude subscription costs to hear guys that know less. And
it's shocking.
You know, they're not helping. So,
you know, you made a point. You made a point about, you know, people from that world, right? Like a Sean Ross Sapp, for instance. And I'm going to pick on Sean for a minute here, right? Even though I have no personal fucking beef with Sean Ross Sapp, I don't know the guy. I've never interacted with that fucking guy. But recently, I was scrolling through my Twitter feed, and I see that Vince Russo has a tweet where I guess Sean Ross Sapp is saying that he knows as much as Vince Russo about wrestling, or he's somehow comparable to Vince Russo when it comes to wrestling. Dude, whether you love him or don't, Vince Russo was the main writer for the two biggest wrestling companies of all time ever at what was essentially their peaks. You don't know as much as that fucking guy. And it's okay to just say, "Listen, I have some problems with the way that he booked a few things. I think that he needs somebody around to sort of help mold him, cuz he tends to get like a little too creative or whatever." You can criticize a person but still keep it in the bubble of like, "But at the end of the day, that guy did all of this in professional wrestling, and I basically have a fucking blog." Like, it's okay to just say, "No, I don't know as much as Vince Russo does about professional wrestling." So, Sean, I don't know you, but shut the fuck up if you think you're comparable to Vince Russo.
Well, saying stuff like that, like, it gets you over. And, I mean, to the people that you're already over with, I guess. But, I mean, was anybody on the fence of unsubscribing from Sean Ross Sapp and Fightful Select? But then he buried Vince Russo and then they renewed their subscription. Like, good. Like, I'm glad there's still some good in the world. I can give him my $10 or $11 or whatever it is. Like, thank God he buried Vince Russo. It doesn't, it's just, it's almost too easy,
I'll tell you, man. I see people constantly. That seems to be like the safest fucking thing in all of the wrestling bubble. It's like, if you're a complete fucking idiot, you know nothing about professional wrestling, you've shown yourself to be immoral, untruthful, and unknowledgeable, but you really need to get yourself out of a jam, just say something rude about Vince Russo and everything will be all right. It's the weakest fucking reaction I ever see online when people are just absolute fucking morons and their reaction to everything is, "Oh, but Vince Russo's dumb, right, guys?" It's like, fuck off, you unoriginal fucking hack.
Speaking of hacks, look who's joined us.
Hey, there's Jimmy.
Speaking of guys that argue on the internet, look who's here.
Yeah, I know. I'm an idiot, man. I don't know why I'm getting involved in this shit, but I'm trying to be as nice as possible, Vet, online. So I'm giving little jabs in a nice way, Vet. I say Ulsa. Don't let these motherfuckers get to me. I'll just chill. But what you guys are talking about is spot on, man. 100%. I'm actually liking this argument.
I responded to Jeff twice on Twitter the other day, and it took all my strength.
Really? What did he do?
And I know Jeff.
What
but like the most I ever like to do is just like maybe one response and then out, Responding a second time, that's just...
I never see you say shit really online, man, when it comes to, arguing about wrestling. Never, not once.
Well, like Chris, I observe. I'm a wrestling observer, so to speak.
Literally.
Yeah, I'll let you guys talk about it. I'm certainly not going to respond to anybody I don't know, like you do or like Chris says. But yeah, that's not what it's for. Social media is there for watching other people be idiots and then not saying anything, and making a joke to the people that you do know. Like the people that you know in real life that follow you on there, you may jump in on their post and comment and make a joke, or you are there to promote something, and that is it. If you actually are on Twitter or in a comment section on YouTube or Instagram or anything, and you actually type out like sentences and or paragraphs in a conversation with somebody, cringe.
You're wasting your fucking time.
Yeah, just seeing just seeing blocks of text on social media is cringe. It's like, be quiet. Do you not understand? Be quiet. Like, stop it. No one cares. And if you read it, that's sad too. Don't read it. TLDR. Move on.
Well, that's my problem, dude. When I see some stupidity out there on the net, it just drives me nuts.
Can't you just shake your head and scroll on?
Oh, I know. I used to stay away from it recently. Like back, don't get me wrong, I used to argue all the time. Then I stopped, and then for some reason lately, I've been getting right back into it, and it's fucking stressing me out because some of the stupid shit that I've been reading is driving me banana. I'm just saying.
All right.
You know,
We just got a huge social media spike because a cat walked into the frame.
There's a cat. Hello, Peanut.
There's a cat. Hey, who's that?
Black. Watch the view count go up, guys.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
absolutely. We're gonna hit 400,000 viewers now.
Thank you, Revamped. Thank you.
Good girl.
And I am me. I'm always me, Aaron. Come on, man. Like
she was a monster as a kitten, by the way. This cat was like the most evil little fucking shit ever. Basically a gremlin, a four-legged gremlin, for fuck's sakes. And now that she's old, she's like really chill and nice.
How
and
old?
It's like she's a totally different cat. So
how old is she?
Thank you for not being evil anymore. She's, I want to say 7, 8.
She's young, dude.
Yeah,
she's young. Believe me, man. She looks very black, like very healthy.
How dare you? No, but yeah, she is. She's very black.
God damn it! I can't even call a cat a black cat, right? I mean,
no, it's racist.
Right.
It's fucking racist, Jimmy.
Oh God.
Yeah, man. You know what? Actually, speaking of Jeff and saying things, he actually, I used his tweet to big up this show actually this week.
Oh.
He was saying, I've seen so many social media posts about the pay-per-view and about was there a fucking TNA pay-per-view or whatever too?
Yeah, there was
last night. And he's like, but the only thing I've seen about Collision is a tweet from Tony Khan. And I tweeted back and I was like, wait, Collision's on? And I knew he was going to respond to me because he knows that I have this show. So he said, yeah, don't you have a shift tomorrow covering it? And I was like, I do, in fact, at 10 a.m. on channelattitude.com.
Where after the Collision, he should have said that.
Like this is what we do, right? That's what social media should be used for, right there. Fucking promote yourself and shut the fuck up.
Well, I don't know if you guys noticed or not, but shout outs to R to the B to the V, who said on Facebook in the group chats that everybody feels sorry for the three of us that have to watch AEW on the weekends. And I just jumped in before and I'm like, well, after the Collision, we sift through the Wreckage, you know what I mean? And I'm just like, FML, fuck my life. You know what I mean? Boy, there's too much wrestling on for one weekend, though, guys. I mean, when you got a TNA pay-per-view, WWE, NXT, PLE, the Collision, I mean, is there anything else I'm missing? There's probably more. There's just too much in one day, man. I mean, why does everyone have to do shit on the Saturday? What's wrong with you?
I don't know, man. Like there's some weekends where nothing happens. And when there's nothing on the weekend, don't you feel weird? Don't you feel like you're missing something? You're like, wait, did I forget? Did I forget a show or something? Like, what happened? Why is there nothing? And then one weekend will be like 3 shows. It's like, what are you doing?
It's stupid.
So
everyone's an idiot. Like, seriously, every wrestling company right now have lost their minds. I don't know what the hell's going on, but yeah.
This is what I think about all the wrestling going on right here. Cat butt.
What? Pussy?
But cat butt. Listen, honestly, though, we had this conversation last night, Jimmy, when we were reviewing NXT. There is too much fucking wrestling on TV, man. Like, there's just, even for people who like wrestling, there's too much wrestling. People talk about superhero fatigue. Superhero fatigue has fuck all on wrestling fan fatigue, man. I'm tired. Like, I don't want any more. And now we're hearing, TNA signed a deal with Endeavor, and that's Jimmy was asking me about a fucking invasion, a TNA invasion of it.
I know it's not going to happen. I'm putting it out there, Chris. I'm just putting it out there.
Fuck off. Can we just merge TNA with NXT and it can just be one fucking show that I have to watch? That's it. That'd be great. Can we just do that? Fuck.
Well, Revamped has some conspiracies going on here, and he likes to say all the companies are in cahoots to make the fans poor. I mean, how much money does the average fan have? Disco Inferno said that the most wrestling fans are poor, so it doesn't make sense. Come on, we're not that poor, are we?
Disco Inferno says a lot of things.
Disco,
Yeah, I know.
Disco
Mind you-
Inferno says that's a surefire way for my brain to shut off.
You know what's funny about Glenn Gilberti, whatever you want to say? I remember a time. Do you know who his favorite wrestler was at a time? Believe it or not. Take one guess.
Bret Hart.
Either one of yous. Kenny Omega. Yes,
come
I
on.
said Kenny Omega. You tell him that now, he'll deny it. But I listened to that interview where he said that, and I'll never forget it.
Well, that just made me respect Glenn Gilberti a little less. So
You never take any kind of advice from somebody that lets Rotten Tomatoes dictate their viewing habits.
that's good.
Nice.
Yeah, that's
That was a
pretty much
zing,
right.
a good zing, for sure.
All right, guys. Do you wanna talk about Collision? We're supposed to.
Yes,
All
I
right.
can't wait.
We're supposed to. All right. So we begin with intro promos from Ethan Page, Kenny Omega, Bryan Danielson, Andrade, Cesaro. I'm going to keep calling him Cesaro because Malachi Black called him Cesaro live on television last week. It was funny. And Eddie Kingston. Yes, we have to, Aaron.
Eddie Kingston, huh?
Well, I was excited, and then you said Ethan Page did a promo, and I almost fell asleep right here.
Yeah. Yeah, you're gonna hate what I have to say about that match because I actually don't mind Ethan Page. All right, so to begin with, we have Claudio Pasta Cagnoli versus Eddie Kingston for the 1,000th fucking time. So
Yeah.
time. Third
well,
time.
Is it really only the third time? It does feel like the 1,000th time. How many times have they wrestled in the last 6 weeks? Honestly.
also they just had a blow off match that was supposed to blow off their feud
Well,
and like
they
completely
blew each
finish
other
it.
off.
It was that was supposed to be the end of the feud between these two, and now they're having a meaningless match in a meaningless tournament for a
It's not
bunch
meaningless.
of fucking
It has
dumps.
lots of meaning. This
Yeah.
meaning is about 3 points, and the tournament is about a Triple Crown championship.
That's right. Also, we're
Chris.
told about 700 times by the announcers that Eddie needs to win to stay alive. So I wonder how this match will go. There's been so many surprises so far from this tournament. Just kidding. By that, I mean there's been no surprises at all. At one point, though, Nigel did say something that I loved. Eddie strapped on a submission really, really sloppily. And Nigel says, and I quote, "Certainly not expert applied, but that dry humor that the Brits sometimes come with is just fucking wonderful for this kind of situation, and that made me laugh." The finish of the match is 2 minutes before the end. Eddie counters a pinning attempt into one of his own, and he beats Claudio Noli. For the 3 points. So he stays alive in the tournament. Yay!
Do you
Shocking.
remember what I said? Do you remember what I said about who's going to win this damn tournament?
Yes, I remember what you said.
Mark my words, it'll be Eddie Kingston.
Please don't let it be Fat
Yeah, he
Ogre.
ain't winning the tournament.
We'll see. We'll see. Remember, I said it first. Yalla.
Eddie Kingston is a guy who I don't like the way he's working lately. We'll put it that way. I don't like the fucking machine gun shops. I don't like that everything is about some retired Japanese guy's moves that he saw in Japan a long time ago and whatever. I don't like Eddie Kingston's stuff in that sense. But I understand how you use Eddie Kingston. And you don't use Eddie Kingston to win an athletic, competition, tournament like this. You use Eddie Kingston if you want him to win a big match, it needs to be an emotional situation, right? Eddie Kingston needs to win because of his heart and his toughness, not because he's
And
a
that's
better athlete than the other people in a tournament. So yeah, him winning this tournament would be pretty bad booking, I think, unless there's a really good explanation as to why.
Well,
The correct
he
way-
scraped.
The
Sorry,
correct
go
way for Eddie Kingston to be used in this is to get close and then break everybody's heart.
Aw.
Like when you think he's first, you put him down, then he starts to come back, and then like at the last, whatever the last thing is that decides it, he doesn't do it. So even if he might come out of this block, like maybe he actually wins the blue block, and then he'll get to the thing, because it's 2 of his titles are on the line and the third one is just made up out of thin air. So that's the story. And then whoever, probably a heel, could be Swerve, like the way things are going. That would be a perfect person. Jay White's a good person to break people's hearts. He's done that many times in the past where you just think there's no way Jay White's winning this, and then he just does. Didn't happen with MJF, but it's happened many times that Jimmy would know. So that's the correct story for Eddie Kingston. Get your heart broken, but at the same time, now you're relinquishing this responsibility of being like a double and or triple champion so that you can just, he seems like he's having a rough time lately physically. So maybe he needs a little bit of rest and a little less obligation. So perhaps there is like a shoot reason why. But as for this match and the way Eddie Kingston works, what I liked about it was he is selling more, and that's what he should be doing. Because if you look at him and then you look at Cesaro, it's like, well, come on, one of these guys is going to beat the shit out of the other one, and everybody can tell which. So I like that he's selling more because that's what he needs to do in that role anyway. The baby face should be selling. And he did that in whatever the match was last week. I forgot. What match was it that he lost? Jimmy, we talked about it, but I forget now. Was it Brody King?
Yes.
It was Brody King. Brody King kicked the shit out of him and he sold.
Right.
Or something like that. So no, Brody King was the first match he had. The second match was Andrade. I don't know. The chat will tell me, but the point is that match he sold more. This match he sold more. We'll see a match later where I was also particularly impressed with the selling. However, this match's finish, I liked it because it was like a little more believable for this. For when you do a finish like this, it's a little more believable. But we're going to see two finishes that are, or not two finishes. You're going to see one finish that's less believable in a similar style match. So, overall, I thought it was good for what these guys could do. Not the greatest match. Nigel's not wrong, but still, that's what you do with a guy with limited athletic ability. You sell. When in doubt, sell.
Absolutely.
Can I ask you guys a serious question before you continue on though about Kingston? Yeah. Now, I think I asked you this last week, Vet, but I'll ask both of you guys again now. Why the hell does he walk the way he does to the ring like he needs to take a shit? Like, what's with that? It's like he clenches his ass cheeks while he's getting to the ring. I don't get it.
He definitely doesn't have any swagger to his gait there.
He's a goofball, man, for real. Like the way, I don't know, man. Like I said, why does he have to walk with little steps? Like we need some sound effects as he's walking. Maybe I'll do that next week. So as he's come to the ring here, you know what I mean? It takes me away from him. And the thing is, I want to like Eddie. Like, you know what I mean? He really is your real underdog type of guy. But he's full of shit too. And I'm sick of I get it. Everyone suffers from their own type of mental, depression, right? I get it. We all do, man. Right? But does this really need to come out in a pro wrestling, in pro wrestling and stuff like that? Doesn't people watch wrestling so, you don't have to think of your everyday life? You know what I'm saying, man? I don't know, man.
Well, he hasn't been doing that lately, so.
He hasn't. That's true. But still, he does bring it up. But sorry, I just wanted to say that. I don't know if Chris is ready or not, but
I'm ready. Listen, what he needs, because you can get. I actually think that there is money in Eddie Kingston, because as much as he's not a great worker, right? He does evoke emotion, and when he has a storyline to really sink his teeth into and get emotion out of, he's great. The problem is that even when he's booked in a situation like this where it's a tournament and every single week he has to have some kind of emotion against whoever he's wrestling, you lose it a little bit because he's overdoing it to try to make up for it, right? Because he knows he's not fucking Okada in the ring. He knows that he can't do that. He knows what he needs is to get emotion out of people. So he has to bring the emotion out of himself. The problem is that when he does that in some of these situations, it comes off as a little flat or fake. But that's what he needs to do in order to be an effective talent, is to evoke emotion. So he's the kind of guy who you need to write stories for. Like not even necessarily, book matches. You need to write stories to get everything you can out of Eddie Kingston. And that's like what they're supposed to be doing on a wrestling company, is writing
really
stories.
Perfect for that, Chris. He's the perfect guy for that, to actually write a story about.
Yeah. No, I mean that's my own opinion, Vet. What do you think?
Right.
Well, the only thing that Eddie's really missing is the mechanics, right?
Yeah.
Like he's got a certain look. Even if it is what it is, that's still certain. And he's got the promo. We believe in him. We believe everything except when he's administering offense. That's the only thing we don't really believe. But how you think about it, you think about his whole career, he's not a young man. He's relatively young, but not young in wrestling.
No, he's young, right? Yeah.
Where has he been this whole time? He had a short run in TNA, and then what before that? Chikara? And what else? Like, how the fuck was he ever going to be good? He didn't work with anybody good.
Yep.
He's only working with good people now. It's like now he's had a wrestling career's worth of bad habits that you can't teach an old dog new tricks. He's not going to get magically better now, but like he's only now getting to work with people that half-ass know what the fuck they're doing. He was in NWA, but I mean, not long.
Yeah.
Well, Labrat hit the nail on the head. Kingston should just do the Brooklyn Brawler gimmick. Why not?
Eddie could do a lot of things to just make things a little bit better. I think he should take a look at some of like Conan's outfits from WCW. Remember when he was wearing like the big baggy stuff or whatever? He was wearing like a lot of baggy overalls and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
I'm not fat shaming the guy, but like you can cover up your least impressive aspects, right? And his least impressive aspect is, I mean, the mechanics aren't great, but the least impressive thing about him is the fact that he looks like a fat plumber. Like he does not look like an athlete, right?
Right. Only thing before you even go any further, I just want to push back and say there's been a lot of people who look like Eddie Kingston and made a lot of money in wrestling 50, 60, 70 years ago. So that's not necessarily the issue. And as long as you have those other things to make up for it, like the promo, right?
Yeah.
Like you take this is like I'd much rather see a Eddie Kingston than say a Trevor Murdoch, for example. So
no.
You know what I'm saying? Like that's basically that's it. But he's not completely unprecedented is all I'm saying. But yeah, you could be more flattering for yourself, but that's the thing. He's wearing that singlet top. And that's holding some of that gut in. So imagine if he let it out.
Well, and every once in a while he lets the straps down, and it's like
and he's got saggers, man.
That's not
legit.
It's not the way to do it. But anyway, I'm going to stop giving advice to Eddie Kingston, who is a relatively successful professional wrestler, and making more money.
How many points do you have in the Continental Classic, Chris?
Chris.
I don't know.
Son of a bitch.
Do we even have a Canadian in that fucking tournament? I feel like we're being robbed. It's a continental tournament, and we don't even have.
I don't think there is, bro.
It's fucking nonsense.
Not one Canadian, not even a Japanese guy.
It's
just quietly. And I hope you guys remember that Eddie Kingston was the representative for AEW in the G1 this year. Mm-hmm. So just putting it out there, he's got experience. He's got experience. The only guy that's got experience in this tournament. So just keep that in mind.
In this tournament.
Well, not this tournament, but the style of tournament, right?
Yeah, so, this is not that. One of these things is not like the other, Jimmy.
That's true. No, I agree with that.
All right. Next up, we've got John Moxley giving a promo about how Roosh was a was a hard match, and how Swerve is going to be a hard match, but it's a shame for the helmsman to be surprised by the wind.
What? What does that mean?
Oh, you're the poet. Where the fuck did he get that from?
What the fuck are you talking about? What?
That was great, bit.
What kind of Herman Melville shit is that?
This was the Ultimate Warrior repeating something that he heard incorrectly or something. This is just fucking bad promo. Anyway,
they do a lot of seafaring in Ohio.
Fuck, Mike, what are you talking about? You're from the least fucking likely place in the world to have a helm. Anyway, yeah.
You should just be called Sir Jonathan Moxley from now on. Come out in the suit.
Sir John.
Sir John Mox.
Sir John of Moxley him. That would be fucking whatever.
like Bethlehem.
Anyway, he says, yeah, so it's gonna be a long night. So make sure you pack your lunch, Swerve. Which I'm pretty sure they have catering.
Mm-hmm.
I'm at least certain that they have water back there.
And you know what's funny though, Chris? The fact that Moxley would have thought how smart he is by doing this weird ass promo that doesn't belong in pro wrestling. It just sounds like he said "Gone with the Wind."
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, he could have just said, Swerve, you have all of these things to say, but frankly, my dear, I just don't give a damn. It would have been a better fucking reference. Anyway, I don't know what the fuck he's doing. Backstage, his wife is talking to Hook, who doesn't get a chance to answer the question that was asked. This happens a lot in AEW, where Renee asks a question, and before the person she's asking the question to is able to answer, someone else is just there automatically, but they weren't seen beforehand.
Yeah, do you think she could just, like, one of these times when she's backstage, she could look to her right and say, "Hold on, I'll just ask them a question." They're walking up.
Yeah, exactly. Now, Hook, you've had real problems with. Oh, speaking of who I was going to ask about. Oh, there you are. What do you say about this? At least it would fucking come across as realistic. Anyway, yeah, Wheeler Yuta. They don't like each other, and they're gonna have a match. But the honorable Wheeler Yuta doesn't want to have a match under honorable wrestling title Japan Ring of Honor belt thing that he has. He doesn't want to have a match under those rules. He wants a match under the FTW rules. So,
and what does that involve?
No rules.
Yeah, lazy booking, as they say in the business. Yeah.
Cool.
Do whatever the fuck you want.
Yes, but you know what? It was a Hook appearance. So on my menu, I'm choosing one Hook, and I will take it. And Hook was perfect here. I love just his perfect delivery. It's like, you kick Shibata in the balls. Like, it's so good. He's so good. I just want to give him a hug and say, good job, kid. I'll be your new dad, and I'll actually teach you wrestling.
Oh, nice.
That's cool. Except that's Christian's gimmick. That's not.
Well,
cool.
My gimmick will be off screen. It's a shoot. Christian's doing a worked gimmick here. I'll do a shoot backstage.
All right.
Daddy's home now, Chris.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. And we're not talking about Orton. We're talking about the vet right there.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. Yeah. Where did that go, by the way? That whole daddy's home thing, which I said was a stupid fucking thing.
Daddy's still around.
Yeah. Yep. He's gonna have he's gonna have a blow off with mommy. It's gonna be great. Willow and Martinez, Mercedes Martinez are up next, and they have a women's match. So Willow wins via small package, and afterwards there's an attack by Martinez and Diamante. I'm going to be honest with you. I skipped this match. I fast forwarded right to the end.
All right. Well, allow me, fellas.
Go ahead.
So this is that match I was talking about, where Willow was in the role of Eddie Kingston here because she was selling the whole time. Now I know what you were thinking, Jimmy. You were thinking I was going to make a weight remark. I saw that on your face. I'm talking about what they did in the match. So Willow basically got the shit kicked out of her, and Mercedes booted her all around the ring and outside the ring and basically just beat her up and down. And Willow was just selling. And what was good about this match, right, is remember, Jimmy, when we were talking about who was it was Brody King and Cesaro we were talking about last week, where we were like, this just looked like spots, right? Like a sequence, right? Whereas this looked like Mercedes was basically stalking Willow, hunting her down, kicking the shit out of her, trying to get hands on her, and then throwing her away again, and then going to get hands on her, and so on and so forth. It didn't look like they had a bunch of stuff planned. They didn't do a lot of rope running. They didn't do a lot of turnbuckle charging. They didn't, there wasn't a lot of opportunity for them to expose themselves, and take that however you want. The basically what it ended up being was that Willow sold, and then got a surprise win. Unlike the previous match, I didn't like this because, one, we had a very similar match already, right?
It's standard.
And two, I just didn't like this finish. Like, I didn't like the actual finish of the match, because, Mercedes didn't have enough damage, I don't think. So I don't like those. I never like the surprise wins like that where, the person is just like, dominated, and I just don't believe the finish. It'd be one thing if you slipped and really hurt yourself, and then Willow hit the power bomb on her, right? Like, and you're getting pinned either way. You know what I mean? Don't try to think that you're protecting Mercedes Martinez with a small package. She's not protected. She's lost every match she's ever fucking had. It doesn't matter anymore. So if you're gonna lose to the finish. Even if you slip on a banana peel, you could still hit the finish on the heel. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. But I'd much rather see something like that than to have a match like this, where you go back and forth and it's very physical and very brutal. You don't see like the super heavyweights throwing small packages around. You don't want to see. You've seen when Big Show tries to small package Kane or something, right? You remember that time they had that match where they were trying to wrestle and as a rib? Like, it don't look good. So yeah. But even more so than that, like, this is basically the same kind of match that Eddie and Cesaro had. And if you saw Dynamite, which I'm sure you guys did because you did a skirmish, there was good matches in the tournament matches there. However, like, 3 of the 3 matches kind of worked the headlock. And it's like you had good matches. However, you were also on the same card as matches that were doing the same things. So that's where, the lost art of being able to call it in the ring, watching on the monitor and being like, oh shit, they did the headlock thing. All right, we'll do something else. Like that kind of stuff we don't see as much anymore.
We'll focus on the arm wringer or whatever.
Yeah, it should be a thing where the producers are coordinating, like, what are you guys going to do in your match, and make sure that nobody's repeating the same stuff. So yeah, this was a similar match to the match we already saw on this show, but it was good. It was a better match because they weren't trying to run spots. They were wrestling. It was wrestling.
Well, and what you just mentioned is something that they've done on this show a lot, where, and I've pointed it out like a few times with Jimmy, every fucking match on a night will start off with brawling around ringside. And I'm just left going, did nobody fucking talk to anybody backstage? Is there just no communication? How's your match going to go? Well, we're going to start off by brawling around the ring. Okay, cool. You go to the next guy. How's your match going to go? Well, we're going to start off by brawling around the ring. No, you're not. They're doing that in their opening match. Or no, you're not going to do that. The main event guys want to do that, so you got to do something else. Like, there's got to be a fucking pecking order, and there needs to be more communication backstage so that we're not just getting 3 straight matches where they're focusing on a headlock, or 3 straight matches where everybody's on the outside of the ring, or 3 straight fucking matches where it's a fucking tag team match. Can we just get like somebody backstage to have a little bit, just a tiny little bit of, quality control in AEW? Because that's all it takes. It doesn't take a lot, just a little bit of communication with everybody backstage.
Well, it's the standard match. It's the standard AEW match, guys. This is normal. This is what they do for most matches. Like the vet said, it goes one way the whole way through, and then the other guy or girl ends up getting the win by a roll up or some shit. This is just your normal standard AEW style of match. And like you guys said about communication, I was reading about Tully Blanchard. He had an interview recently, and they asked him, did any of the AEW wrestlers take advice from him, Arn Anderson, or whoever? He said no, not once.
Nobody listened backstage.
Nobody listened, and nobody ever approached them for any sort of advice at all. And I believe him. And the thing is, if whoever's the agents over there right now, they're useless. I mean, there's no point of having any agents, because if they're not listening, then fuck it. You know what I mean? Because then that's why we see the same style of match practically night in, night out when it comes to AEW.
Yeah.
However, in points in their favor, I will say, for both Willow and Mercedes, and for Eddie and Cesaro, they both had a match that looked like a match that I would like to watch. It just, it wasn't just spots and sequences that they had set up. It looked like they were sort of reacting. They were working a little bit. Even if they called it all in the back, they were still, at least looked like they were trying to go with a certain flow. So they had good matches. It's just like, it's Collision. Nobody's watching. So
to be fair, to be fair, I wanted to get straight to the joke of me not watching it, but my opening remarks for my notes were Willow and Mercedes Martinez had a decent little match to continue their program. So as much as I like to get to the fucking funnies, I also recognize that this was one of the better AEW women's matches, even though, like you said, there were some holes in it. There was definitely some holes in it where you're like, maybe don't do that, kid, right? But Mercedes Martinez is like 40 years old, so it's hard to
older even. Like, she's been around for a long time. I think she's older than all of us, even. So,
well, if she's older than you, she's ancient.
Oh, thanks.
All right. Anyway, Martinez and Diamante, they attack Willow afterwards. Chris Statlander runs down, hand wrapped in fucking chains. She's so fucking cool and hardcore. She makes the save with their chain wrapped hand, and the crowd goes mild. Renee is backstage talking to 2.0, and she asks, "How does it feel to be back home in Montreal?" And then Hager interrupts, and he says he's having Danhausen investigated for sexual assault against his hat.
No.
Yeah. Something like that.
No, that's so fucking dumb. Really?
Anyway, the one guy from 2.0 then is flirting with Ruby, who tells him bon chance, which is good luck in French. Aw, she learned how to say good luck in French because he's not French. He's from Montreal, but he's not French.
It's true.
Yes. Anyway, Soraya is really mad about it, and she doesn't like it at all. And she says to the fat one, well, aren't you going to do something about it? And then the fat one says, why don't you do something about it? And then they leave.
So the sexual tension really between Soraya and Tits Gone Hard. That guy.
Progression.
I bet you, story progression. It's always in the back. It never sort of unfolds in the ring. But it's
always in the back. Are we talking about...
Touche. But no, honestly, you know what I think is going to happen with this? It's going to be Soraya and Daddy Two Shoes are the ones that are going to hook up in the end, and not Ruby and Parker. That's the swerve, AEW swerve. That's a TK swerve. He loves those type of swerves. You know what I mean?
That's cute. I don't care. Vet, do you have anything to say about this, or should we move on?
Only that watching it, I felt like I was being personally punished, but I couldn't figure out for what.
Yeah. All right. So there's a video package for Swerve, and he says he plans on beating Jon Moxley in their tournament match. Incredible.
In so many words.
Yeah. I'm going to beat you. No, I'm going to beat you.
Is he going to invade his house? Do you think he'll invade Moxley's house, possibly?
If he does, he's going to need to be careful for needles and stuff. Don't go rummaging around in Moxley's house.
They do have a baby though, so
He should be called the grandfather of AEW these days. We've already got a daddy. The granddaddy of AEW, Swerve Strickland. He's the baby snatcher.
I love Swerve Strickland. I really hope he beats John Moxley. All right. So next up, we have a match. Willie Mack is he's mad at Wardlow because Wardlow beat up his friend. And yeah. This was a fun little match here. This was a good this was one of those really good examples that you can point to somebody and say, you don't need 15 minutes to get over. Willie Mack did a couple of athletic things. He had some athletic facials, or he had some entertaining facials. He's an interesting guy, right? He's not a guy that you easily forget about, Willie Mack, right?
Well,
actually,
he talks kind of funny, Chris. Let's be honest.
And yet Tony Khan has managed to for
Yeah, exactly. So Willie Mack, he's there. He shows off a little bit, but it's a pretty quick match. I thought that the end was pretty entertaining, and I gotta say, as somebody who has spent a little bit of time in the gym, I was legitimately impressed when Willie Mack is a big dude. He goes for a Hurricane Rana, and Wardlow holds him up mid fucking swing and then picks him back up for the power bomb. Like, I'm telling you, as somebody who spent a little bit of time in the gym, that's fucking strong. You have to be incredibly fucking powerful in order to do that. That was like a really impressive moment for me. It was like, holy shit, that was big. He didn't even drop him on his head. He straight up like reversed coursed, lifted him up, and power bombed him. He then continues to powerbomb him a bunch more times and leaves as the referee calls for the bell. But this is like I said, this is a good example of you don't need 25 minutes for every fucking match, right? Both guys got themselves a little more over. I would say that Willie Mack after this, should probably get booked again, probably to lose to somebody again. But also, hey, he's showing off his athleticism and a little bit of, he's got the entertaining facials and he's kind of fun, a little bit different, right? And Wardlow just very, very impressive. Like I said, from somebody who's lifted a little, holy shit, that takes a lot to be able to just reverse course with a guy who's that big in the middle of a Hurricane Rana and just lift him up. That was, yeah, I was surprised and impressed. Vet, what did you think of the match?
The match was about perfect for what it needed, what they wanted. They gave Willie Mack more than nothing, which is what most people that face Wardlow get nowadays.
Yep.
And it should be that way. I mean, whatever Wardlow's doing, it's got to get progressively a little bit more challenging for him. So Willie Mack's a good guy. Even if Zane Vicious thinks he should be the modern day Junkyard Dog, the only thing that would be holding him back from that is he's just not nearly as charismatic as the Junkyard Dog. But, unlike Eddie Kingston, almost what he's missing, but the athleticism and stuff. Or Willie Mack has gotten over by being just some fat guy that can do all of your favorite wrestling moves. Like, he really will just do them all. He's like he's like a second coming of James Storm, if you will. James Storm never let himself go that much, but he was a guy that was just like, I'll just do every popular wrestling move and drink beers, which is somebody else's gimmick too.
And brush my hair.
But Willie Mack is like that. He'll give you a super kick. He'll give you a stunner. He'll give you a tope con hero. Like, he'll do all the moves that you like. And he's very athletic despite his looks. So that's kind of been his gimmick. It doesn't necessarily, it's not unimpressive what you're describing with the Hurricane Rana spot into the power bomb. Willie Mack is helping a little bit. Still very impressive though. You still have to have that change of direction and stuff. But in the gym, when you're lifting something, like, the weights aren't posting up for you either.
No,
so
they're not. Yeah.
There is a little bit of that, but yeah, it was just the whole thing went off without a hitch, and I really liked it. So there you go.
It was good stuff. Jimmy, what did you think of the match?
Yeah, I liked it too, but it was typical Wardlow. But Wardlow is a specimen, man. He's tough, and like you said, Chris, the way he was able to like reverse Willie Mack into the power bomb. I mean, he's again. How do you destroy this guy? But what's even funnier is I still believe that AEW still don't know exactly what to do with Wardlow.
No,
Yeah,
they
you're
have
right.
no
They
fucking idea
don't.
what to do with Wardlow.
They're just buying time for whatever they come up with, and until then, this is what we're gonna get.
He's the devil, guys. He's the devil.
You know what?
I'd be all right
I do
with
think
that.
the Pinnacle. I think the Pinnacle is getting back together.
That'd be interesting. That'd be an interesting thing to do, I guess. I mean, whatever it is, it's never going to be, somebody's going to be disappointed, but whatever.
Of course.
I forgot one thing I was going to mention about the match that I didn't like. I didn't like this finish either. I don't like these finishes where referees are stopping matches because it's like, what is the pinfall for? If we're just doing submission or knockout, then this is UFC now.
Yep.
Well, and the other thing about it
That's
too
true.
that bothers me, Vet, is like, okay, we're calling the match because the guy took 3 power bombs. Last week I saw somebody go through a table. 2 weeks ago I saw somebody get fucking ripped open by a barbed wire bat. How do you call a finish in these fucking matches?
Right. Yeah. It's just it's not good. There's a way to do it. Like if Wardlow continuously power bombs a dead Willie Mack and the referee has to stop it, that's one thing. You don't just walk off while the ref checks and's like, are you sure you're knocked out? I guess you are. You're not answering. Ring the bell. Like that's not a finish. And the WWE's been doing this too, like referee stoppages. You're trying to get realism or something to, equate with mixed martial arts or that type of stuff, but you're not doing it correctly. There's a way to do it. They're not doing it. And that part sucks. It's the same. And the problem is where this really comes into play is you are going to get shoot hurt in matches. And when it happens, it looks terrible. Like if you get pile driven through a table and it hit a concrete floor and then they roll you in and you kick out on 2. Okay. And then when you tweak your knee and they have to get trainers out to stop it because you can't walk anymore, that looks like, well, I mean, you survived the power bomb through the tables and the concrete, and that was okay. So why are you stopping it for his knee hurting?
Ankle, and we have to stop the fucking
right. Or when somebody's working an ankle and they're supposed to pretend they can't walk, you don't stop the match. So it's like these you're doing too much. You're trying too much. You're doing too much, and you're not being consistent with it. So that part I don't like. You could still get a stoppage finish, but the way they did it is not the way to do it.
Yeah.
Would it have been better if they just brought in all security to stop Wardlow from continuously power bombing whoever he's power bombing?
You don't even need to do that. Basically, what you need to do is you need to have the ref really more involved in what's happening. So you have him perform the first power bomb, right? And then the referee looks like, okay, am I going to count? And then nope, I'm going to pick him up. I'm going to hit him with another power bomb. This time after the second power bomb, you have the referee say something. Are you going to pin him? Right? Motion to him. Are you going to pin him? No. He picks him up.
Not counting
fucking
even.
Power bombs again. Referee goes, oh, come on, man, pin the guy. Like pin him already, right? Picks him up, power bombs him again. The referee's like, dude, what the fuck are you doing? You're going to hurt this guy. Like this isn't
wait a
right.
minute.
You get the referee more involved. Like if the referee can act, right? The referee can be a huge part of the story that you tell in the ring, right?
But
he
all
picks
they
him
have
up
to
for the
do-
5th power bomb. He fucking hits him down. The referee's like, pin him or I'm fucking calling it. He goes and
don't
picks
pin
him up
him.
again. Referee just calls the bell, right?
You
Calls
know what?
oh,
The
ring bell.
ref, which something AEW refs don't seem to do, is count the fucking 10 count. Isn't that what you're supposed to do, right? If you're not going to pin the guy and the guy's not getting up, count the fucking 10, and then that's it.
You're
Bang,
right.
knockout.
You're right, Jimmy.
Simple.
There is a precedent for 10 counts. A lot of times
Right.
they use it for double downs,
Yes,
but
they never do
theoretically,
it on the single. Yeah, including WWE. I have not seen that done in years.
yeah, and that's the problem because they bring it out when somebody thinks of it, and then they're
Right.
like, "Aha, I'm clever. I thought of an old finish," and then it's like, "Yeah, but you haven't been using it, so now everybody's confused."
Yeah,
And-
nobody knows
and
what the
it-
fuck just happened.
Right.
Yeah, so Yeah, they need to get their shit together, but
Right. And that can lead into that kind of a finish, right? That can be another thing where the referee's like, okay, fine, I'm going to count to 10. And you're not going to pin him 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. The referee starts counting quickly. He grabs him and picks him up. I broke the count. Haha. Now you get the referee even more fucking frustrated. Come on,
telling
man.
a story right there, right?
You could
It's still telling a story.
You could throw the match out.
Yep.
Be like, this match is a no contest now because
That's it.
Wardlow refuses to finish the match. So it's like you tell stories and it's interesting. So yeah.
Yeah, we just came up with a much better finish for this match.
And it's logical too. That's the thing. All because of actual rules. You know what I mean? All you got to do is implement the actual rules
and if you,
of professional wrestling.
You do stuff like that and it can play into larger stories. That's
Absolutely.
the whole point. That's how you get out of just having match after match after match. If you keep having match after match, you have to keep thinking of different things to do. And that's how you end up with 3 headlock stories in one night. But, for an example, right? Here's another mistake. Let's not just pile on AEW. WWE, again, SmackDown. Cross versus Lashley. Why did that need a finish? What it should have been was a double DQ, double count out. And then by doing that, now you don't have to look, Santos is beating Lashley. You know that, right? So now you don't have to think of a way to do that. He gets a bye now because Lashley's not there. So he gets heat. It's like, oh, you motherfucker, you got to skip a match and now you're just waiting in the finals for whatever babyface is going to make it there.
And
like,
it protects him too, man.
Yes, and then it protects Cross. It protects Lashley. It can spin them off into something short, like a short program for them or whatever, where you don't have to have matches tell the whole story. Like things like that. It's not just the business for the guys there. It can be business for other people down the road. And Wardlow clearly has business with MJF. So it's still like if he has a match with a guy that he feels like he could destroy, like a Willie Mack or anybody else, and now you've thrown out one of his matches and taken a victory away from him and taken money out of his pocket, now he's mad again. It's his own fault, but he's mad and he's going to take, now that's even more, he's still going to blame MJF for that, even though it's totally his fault. So you see, it's like the whole thing is you're building everything. That's the kind of, but
this story right there and build perfectly put, and you don't even have to think fucking too much, man.
Yeah. What do we know?
It's frustrating. Exactly.
What do we know? We don't know anything. We're no Sean Ross Sapp. We're no Nick Houseman. We're no Denise Salcedo. We're just just a bunch of bums.
I definitely agree that we are not Nick Houseman. We're not that guy.
We are all not one guy.
Yeah.
Remember when? Yeah, well, that's true. Remember when Houseman tried to call his show The Skirmish, and we called him out on it?
I do remember that. And then he was like, "Oh, but it wasn't my idea. We're gonna change the name." I was like, "Okay."
Yeah, he actually backed down quick, man, which surprised me.
I hate that guy. All right. So anyway, what you said about Willie Mack, it reminded me of a funny thing that I used to see. You talked about how he was sort of deceptively athletic, and that was a term that they applied to Jeremy Lin a lot, which was very funny when people would say that he's deceptively athletic. You mean because he's Asian? And
yes, I was going to say yes.
Like what the fuck?
Say you're a racist without saying it. Yes.
Like,
are you talking about the basketball player?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Yeah. Where they'd fucking say he was deceptively athletic. What the fuck do you mean deceptively athletic? Like he's supposed to be doing math clubs, so it's deceptive that he can do fucking basketball.
How could a non-Yao Ming player be in the NBA?
Jesus Christ.
And Jeremy Lin was damn good, especially with the Knicks, man. But we're not here about talking basketball there, but yeah.
Yeah, but that was great. All right, so the House of Black don't like FTR.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Moving on. Starks and Bill beat up Chris Jericho like a month ago. Do you guys remember that?
Yeah, I don't.
They wanted us to remember that. They reminded us.
I wonder why. Why did they want us to remember that? Like that was months ago.
I don't know. Anyway, next up, Chris Jericho's tag team partner has a match.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
yeah.
Cool.
It's against Ethan Page. And listen, I like Ethan Page. I think I like Ethan Page more than either of you two do. Maybe more than a lot of
you
people.
You don't have to think.
Okay. And he looks great. Like he got himself into really excellent shape here.
For nothing though, but still.
But
I mean, am I wrong?
But the fucking announcers being like, this is a match between two of the greatest Canadian wrestlers of all time. And I'm just like, what?
Even Chris has to press pause on that. Yeah.
Like, listen, I like Ethan Page, but a country that has produced Jericho, Benoit, both Hearts, Piper, like, you can't add Ethan Page to that list and not elicit a, wait, what?
He should have said
Page.
She should have said two of the greatest Canadian wrestlers of all night.
Oh fuck, man! Like that was a bit much for me. He could, I think that he's a guy that you could elevate to like at least a mid card sort of belt status. But right now, his whole like everything that he has as a claim to fame is that he was once Impact Tag Team Champions with a much better wrestler. Like,
wasn't that Brandy Rhodes' promo? Like, you're the guy that you're the half of the North we didn't want, or something.
Yeah, pretty much. So yeah, good job, announcers. I still thought they had a pretty decent match though here. This wasn't bad. I thought that both guys did a good job, a relatively good job of selling, relatively good job of like making it look like they were trying to win a competitive matchup here. And yeah, I realize that I am the only person who's going to think this, but fingers crossed, they do something with Ethan Page moving forward. I like him, and hopefully the square, hopefully the squarehead gets a little push.
Yeah, the squarehead. Please, he's not getting pushed anyway. He's going to get pushed out of the company eventually. That's what's going to happen.
Right. Well, Kenny Omega wins. Shock of all shocks.
He
and yeah, and then as he's walking back, not looking behind him. This is always a bad thing to do when you're a wrestler. Don't walk backwards back up the ramp. Something bad will happen. It's like saying I'll be right back in a fucking horror movie, or like having sex also in a horror movie. Bad things to do. Big Bill comes out and he attacks Kenny Omega. So that, oh my God, that makes sense why they showed us the video. Now I get it. Now I understand why they showed us that video. So now they've taken out both of the Golden Jets.
Kenny didn't even have a suitcase to hook at him.
And then Ethan Page limps down the ramp and it scares Big Bill off somehow.
It's his square head, that's why. Like,
yeah.
He was like, damn, and he was like, I'm out of here.
Big Bill was like, I ain't fucking with these Slavs. I'm getting out of here.
Yeah. He's like, fuck that shit. No, this is dumb. Still, what? I mean, the Golden Jets, I don't even know why it's even a thing, right?
Can we call them the Golden Showers?
Well, that's him and Kota Ibushi, really. You know what I mean? So, but the Golden Jets does sound like urine. I mean, think about it. Golden Jets, right?
Yeah.
It's just, I mean, shit. Their finisher might as well be, I know they do the Golden Shower.
The cross streams.
Yeah. They should just, the cross streams, they both start pissing on them, but this way sort of thing, where they cross streams, and then that's it. Bang, it's over. I mean, this is dumb. I don't care. And you know what? You know what's sad? You know me. I've tried to vouch for Kenny Omega for so many fucking years. I've just about given up. No shit. Yes. I've given up. Yes. No yes. Because I don't want to fucking not like this guy. Yeah, you pricks. No, but seriously, man. I don't want to be like that, but I'm sorry to Kenny, but he hasn't showed me shit really in AEW. I try to give him the benefit of the doubt, but I just can't anymore. I just can't do it. I'm done.
Yep.
Well, I can say that in a Kenny Omega match, if he doesn't randomly pull out a table, I'm just going to consider that a win. So I'll give him a thumbs up for not trying to cripple Ethan Page for absolutely no reason with no heat. Good psychology from Kenny Omega to not kill an innocent man for no reason. Appreciate that. Other than that, it's exactly what you'd expect.
Oh boy.
Also, the announcers made me laugh today because they really wanted everybody to think like, yeah, this really means something in Montreal because it's it's
How many
this is
people were there?
two Canadians, and it's like, yeah, but they're from like completely other side of the fucking country. Like, it's not like it's not like this was Jericho versus Omega in Winnipeg, right? This was
Right.
you know, this was guys from different sides of the fucking country facing off in another side of the country that isn't either one of their hometowns. It would be like if the announcers were like, yes, we're coming to you live from Sacramento, California, and we have New York's own Kenny or Eddie Kingston facing off with Washington's own Daniel Bryan. And it's America versus America here in America, and you're like, no, that's not how this works. Nobody in Montreal
it's
gave
true.
a fuck.
It's true. Yeah.
Do we just think that Canadians are just like one? You're all in one small town.
That's
you all know each other.
Bro, I get asked by people
wow.
all the time. Oh, you're from Canada? Do you know Jeff? No, I don't. What are you fucking talking about?
Yes, I do. I'll start saying you do. Just do it. Just play along.
You do.
You know how big my fucking country is? You could legitimately probably ask that question to Aaron. You could probably literally say, hey, oh, you're from Israel? Do you know so-and-so? Because even though there's like however many millions of people there are in Israel, it's a teeny tiny little country, right? It's just real small and cute and adorable, right? Takes a couple hours to drive from one end to the other. It's like you drive for 24 hours and you're not halfway through Canada. That's how fucking big this country is. Stop it. So yeah.
Yes. It is big. But it's not big even in Canada, Ethan Page. So
no.
It was a little silly to try to get
Hamilton,
people to care.
He's not big in Canada.
Even if you had featured him on the program, right? Like in weeks leading up, and not just had him languishing in Ring of Honor, losing a feud to Tony Nese, who was also seen here watching on a monitor backstage.
He's back?
Then it would be maybe a little more digestible that he's just here requesting a big match.
At this point, I mean, Nessy's like Nessie. I'm going to call him Nessie from now on, if you get the joke.
Because he's hard to find.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean,
but yeah, I mean, why not Tony Nese? Like, if we're just taking, bland guys that got themselves in shape.
He's also Canadian.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, is he?
No, he's not also Canadian. That's what I'm saying. We had to have two Canadians because they're in Canada, and it's look at how happy the Canadians are to see the Canadianers,
and the whole neighborhood of Canada is so excited to see it.
Fucking Christ!
They all got into one big living room and watched it together.
Literally, the living room, not in the arena. Because how many people were in this arena? Like, seriously, it was dead.
It was not. I'll tell you, man, as somebody who, like, this is my hockey team's arena, by the way. The Bell Center is my hockey team's arena. I am a Montreal Canadiens guy. Like, I've got Montreal Canadiens dice in my car. I love that fucking team.
Oh, you're such a wog.
I saw pictures of this fucking arena, and I just went, did people actively just leave the Bell Center? Because I've never seen it this empty.
They were all wearing red. They thought they turned up to the Canadiens game, and they realized it wasn't it.
Right,
So,
and then they realized it wasn't, and half of them left. Like, like everybody was just like, "Oh, it's wrestling." Oh yeah.
And Ethan Page. Oh shit! All right, definitely gone.
Ethan Page is in the. You know what? And since they're all French, they were like,
"You're not Canadian."
We surrender. We surrender. We're going home.
Yeah.
So
we surrender.
That's
I wish the fucking 2.0 would have surrendered and got the hell out of there. Then
shout outs to all of those cheese eating surrender monkeys. Anyway, Lana and Rusev have words next. Yes, Lana and Rusev.
God.
Since we're calling people Cesaro, I'm just going back to Lana and Rusev. No, I'm not. Okay, I'll use their real names. Miro,
Just call
make
him
sure to
Cuck.
explain what his wife's place is. Make me a sandwich and be flexible, God damn it. No, he didn't say anything that was nearly so entertaining. But he does say that he won't lay a finger on Andrade until after the tournament. And then I'm
That doesn't
gonna
make sense.
get him.
So he's noble now?
Yes.
Okay, so he tells him when he's going to attack. So if I was Andrade, I just wouldn't turn up. I'd just be like, you're not touching me, dude.
I would just wear
Simple.
my mask. And he wouldn't be able to recognize me.
I hope he does that. That'd be great. But they won't.
Just have a fucking scene where Miro kicks down the door and Andrade's there in his mask, and Miro's like, "Where's Andrade?" Andrade's just like, he went that way, senor. And then Miro's like, oh, that'd be great.
And then he's like Speedy Gonzalez. They do a little effect, right? He's like, yipa, yipa, bring. Runs off with his mask. Well, you know what? Andrade is out of here, man. Anyway, he'll probably get squashed by Miro after the tournament, and he'll be straight back with his wife in double E, as Kozlov likes to say.
I love double E. I love double E.
Did you see me play that? I don't know if you saw me actually do that on the exit.
I saw, yeah. Right, so next up, Abaddon and Julia Hart are going to have a spook off at some point. I don't want to see that.
No, thanks.
No, yeah. Yeah, that match is definitely muffin worthy. I'm calling it already. Whenever that happens, we need muffins. Fucking Abaddon. Just awful. Anyway, speaking of awful, Penta and Commander versus 2.0 is a thing that happened. Yeah. I just assume it didn't happen. Montreal probably wanted their hometown guys to win here because these actually are guys from Montreal, but like, come on, guys. The flippy guys need to win sometimes so that they can stay on my TV permanently.
Commander has a new belt.
He does. He got it from in Mexico. Triple A.
No. Yeah, that's it.
Nah.
Exactly. No. Master P owns Triple A now.
That's right.
Oh.
Yeah. Master Pendejo.
Anyway, that was a match. I'm not talking about it. It was a fucking flippy nonsense bullshit thing that they always do, and we're just going to move on. All right? Okay. There's a video package for Shane the Trailer McNailer and Keith Lee. Sorry. No. Image infringement. Shane Taylor. That's right. Shane Taylor and Keith Lee.
Is he still a thing?
That's a Ring of Honor feud. Why do I have to see packages for it?
Because Keith Lee is a Collision talent.
Yay. But he wasn't on
Look,
tonight.
Shane Taylor is trying very hard to make you care, Chris, and I don't feel like you're giving him the proper respect and appreciation. He's not done anything wrong. He has been trying to sell you on this feud. Sure, you're not going to probably watch the match, but damn it, you can't say he didn't try. And you can't say he fucked it up. You just don't care. Sometimes that happens. You know, it's called Ethan Page's career. But I'm just saying, if you watch this package, right? They showed the footage from Ring of Honor, right? And they showed the moment. Like I said, it's the moment that Keith Lee, when he walked on my screen, I was like, that guy, the smirk. You saw the smirk, right, Chris? They even did like a close-up on it, like his face. And I was just like, that's it. That's the guy. I don't care that he's gigantic. I don't care that he can do luchador moves. It's that smirk. That's what it is. That's it. That's the money. That's the guy. Give me that guy. And, ever since then, he's had a really promising career and everything. But, of course, it's just been derailed at different times for different reasons. And And so we've not really seen the full potential of Keith Lee, and it may be too late to ever see the full potential of Keith Lee, but it was in that moment. It was in that moment I knew.
I want to say that the full potential of Keith Lee was realized in that tweet where he said, man, if what I'm hearing is true, poor Walter.
Poor Walter. I mean,
yeah,
you know.
That was
Keith Lee. Just don't even have him on television anymore, man. Fuck it. What for?
I disagree. I personally, so listen, like I'm making fun of Shane Taylor here. I would much rather see this than Penta and Commander versus 2.0. Like, like give me something that I can actually sink my teeth into. Give me a match that means something between two people who actually dislike each other. Why does it seem like Ring of Honor is being booked better than fucking AEW?
They're not, but it just seems like that because the only time you hear about anything from it, it's something good from over there.
Right.
Also, there is a pay-per-view coming up, so they're kind of promoting Ring of Honor a lot.
But they haven't even been really playing up this feud on Ring of Honor so much.
They haven't.
They've spent way more time on Ethan Page and Tony Nese than they have on these guys. So Ring of Honor is just usually it's just a place where people that worked in Ring of Honor pre Tony Khan can lose to guys that work in AEW post Tony Khan. So that's basically what it is.
The real money is in those Greek superstars like Ethan Page. Those superstars.
Please,
and Athena.
Go there. Yeah, and Athena.
See what I did there?
You did nice. That's a good one.
But anyway, yeah. So you said you'd rather see it than the 2.0 guys. Shit. Has there been a match on this show or anything on this show that you wouldn't have rather seen Keith Lee versus Shane Taylor on? Is there going to be?
No.
Skipping ahead to the end of the program.
No. Nope.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, main event time. Andrade faces Bryan Danielson, and you're all fined. You're all fined for not having watched it. Or for having watched it. Whichever you did, you're fined. Speaking of being fined, Bryan Danielson is not fined. I actually thought this was a pretty solid match. This was a really
a pretty sick match.
Hard-hitting match between two really, really good wrestlers. What the fuck is going on with Bryan Danielson, man? It would be one thing if the last two matches that he got injured in were against Ryback or something. He got injured in like the last two good matches he's had. One of those was against Okada, who, I don't know if you know this, but he's a pretty good wrestler. He's not a guy who injures people a lot, right?
Well, those two times where now he's injured. One pretty bad in Shibata.
He's never injured anyone.
Okay, sorry. Forget I even said that. I'm going to neuralize myself. Forget it. No, look, it happens. It's pro wrestling. It ain't ballet like they say. So
yeah, and even if he was responsible for that first injury, that was 6 years ago.
Shit already, right? Wow. Damn.
And now Andrade, who I don't know if you know this, but has wrestled for literally decades at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Not a guy known for just straight up injuring people.
No,
these are the guys he's getting injured against. Like, there's something wrong with what Bryan Danielson is doing, or there's something wrong with his body because he is consistently getting injured. The next fucking match he's going to have is going to be against Jay White. And Jay White is going to do nothing but powder and sell, and Bryan Danielson is going to get injured. It's like...
he's going to tear his Achilles chasing him.
Fuck, man.
Chasing him outside the ring.
Oh, man.
Like, what's going on with Bryan Danielson? Is his body just completely broken down at this point? Because that's what it seems like.
Go Vet.
I don't know. It could just be a series of coincidences that, unfortunately, it does happen. Yeah, it could be.
Yeah, it's happening one too many times though now, Vet, in quick succession too.
Yeah. Well, the other thing is too, like, he's playing it up because clearly in this match he wants Andrade to go after him, and everything. So that's that's part of it. He continues to do things that in the matches that kind of put him in bad situations or situations to get hurt. There's a lot of things he does that he doesn't get hurt on that you would think he would, but he's getting lucky there. So I don't know, man, but I mean, no one's going to tell him any different at this point.
Well, is he legitimately injured? Can we say for sure that he's injured, or are they working us? Because this could be a work too.
We don't know. We don't know.
Right.
I mean, he supposedly broke his wrist, and came back early, but did he come back early or did he come back on time? Or he broke his orbital bone, but how would we know that?
Yeah, something fishy about the orbital bone, to be honest, man. I'm not sure if I believe that he actually broke that, because no one in their right mind would come back that quick after,
well, you would if, I mean, both these things happened after he's supposed to take on more responsibilities for the company,
yeah,
right?
True. Funny enough.
And so
that's why it could be a work.
Well, but it's also why it could be a shoot, because he's like, I can't, I have these things I need to do. I don't have time to be hurt. I need to just work through it. They booked this tournament. I can't be hurt. I'm supposed to be in it. We could just say,
I don't have time to bleed.
Right. Yeah. Now, if there's a catastrophe and he just actually can't work through it, then what they would end up doing is they would just take him out, and then they'd give the 3 points to whoever was left that was supposed to face him. That's probably what they would do. But I mean, I don't know how much he's playing up what's actually happened to him. I don't know how healthy he is or isn't. That's one of those things about wrestling. You just don't really know what to believe. So,
well, and if they're working us, right? If it's a work, I need to explain something to AEW management, and hopefully I'm not explaining this to Bryan Danielson, which would be really fucking awful. But if you have a character who comes back from injury, early, right, and it's like I need to defend the honor of myself in professional wrestling so badly that I'm going to come back early from injury. I'm going to make it back there for the fans and for the people and for the honor of professional wrestling. And then he gets injured again. And then he gets injured again. And then he's just like, no, but I'm going to keep coming even though I'm consistently getting injured and everything. I'm going to do it. I'm going to keep coming back for the honor of professional wrestling. That guy's not a fucking heel.
Right.
Jesus Christ.
Chris, well, don't worry. Next week he's a babyface again. It's all good.
Well, no, but the way he's working the matches up until this point, like he's eating these people alive in there. Yeah. It's like he's making everybody else look bad for not being able to take out a one-armed, one-eyed guy.
Yep. Yeah, and he's
so you should be matches. You should, like, to Chris's point, he should be playing up the sympathy of these injuries, whether they're worked or not. I don't think he's working the injuries. All I'm saying is we don't know how bad they really are. So whatever. But I'm just like, Chris's point is that's not the kind of guy, that's the kind of guy you have a level of sympathy for, but he's going in there and beating the fuck out of everybody.
Yep.
What's sympathy? Right, exactly.
That he's working like a heel. He's working like the 20, what was it? 2012, 2011, 2012 Bryan Danielson, like no, the fucking asshole.
Oh, yeah.
No, I'm going to
the world heavyweight champion version. Right.
Yeah. I'm gonna kiss my girlfriend and then lose the title in 18 seconds.
Sheamus?
That guy.
Yeah.
That's the Bryan Danielson. He's working like he's going in there. He's buzzsawing everybody, right? Mm-hmm. Until tonight or last night or whatever you want to say, when he met another buzzsaw. So what happens when two buzzsaws meet? True. So yeah, I don't know.
The saw teeth get ripped off, and it's just a nightmare.
And sparks fly.
Yeah, but the thing is, guys, every week he's become the big show in AEW. Like 1 week he's heel, the next week he's face, again he's heel, then he's baby face, then heel, then baby face. Like, how many times do you want to be switching all the time? That's 1. 2, I don't know if you guys checked out his little video package after his match on. Did he wrestle on Dynamite? I can't remember. There was a match, or it was probably maybe after Collision, where he was meditating. Did you guys see that shit?
Great. More heel moves.
He's meditating. Yeah, he's sitting there like all zen, meditating. Like why? I have no idea. But
yeah,
he's
showing you how to be a healthier, happier person. But also,
in a
fuck
dark
you.
room. Yeah, in a dark room also, man. So he's just in like he's remember American Ninja?
Maybe he thinks he's above a label. He just does what he does, and then people like what he does, or they don't like what he does. They just whatever. The Blackpool Combat Club is unlikable, but yet they still feel like, I don't know. They're all dicks, but it's like I don't know. It's just people like them anyway. I mean, what is a babyface in 2023? The point is, I don't know what else you guys had to say about the match itself, but here's another thing where you had Andrade clearly trying to maim Bryan Danielson at multiple points of this match. Like he rips the eye patch off, he attacks the eye. The announcers are saying, "Oh my God, his eye!" All this shit, right? Finally puts Bryan Danielson down. God, the little guy just won't stay down. And he finally beats the shit out of him enough to the point where he lays down, and then he goes over and acts concerned. Now,
oh my God, are you okay? Are you
that
okay?
Is a mistake.
After I ripped off your eye patch and fucked up your eye and focused all of my attention on your obviously injured body part and then finished you and laughed. Oh, are you okay now? Oh no. Oh no.
Right. And it wasn't even in a facetious way. Like he wasn't mocking him, like the way Okada did after he supposedly got hurt. He's like, even Okada's a bigger dick than Andrade. Andrade is now a very compassionate, caring person after he tried to, cripple him for life. So it was very disappointing to see that. He should have just took the win and just walked out. And then he should have bumped into the other BCC guys on their way down, like bumped shoulders with them. Like, what are you going to do, Wheeler? You to shut up, just like any of that stuff, just to be the cold badass that he is. But instead it was that weird moment of like, oh, I do care. I'm not a total heel. Didn't like that.
I start crying. You should have just cried. Fuck it. Why not? Just start crying, man. Well, if he's gonna act like that, you might as well.
We need him to be the baby face in the angle of him cheating with a guy's wife that's going to be coming up here soon. Yeah, we need him to be the baby face other man in the marriage between Miro and CJ Parker. So,
but you know what's sad about that, Chris and Vet? The fact that CJ
everything
right, not CJ Parker, by the way, CJ Perry. That was Juice Robinson that you're thinking of.
Whatever.
By the way,
this is why I just stick with Lana.
Yeah, it's true. But yeah, Lana, CJ, whatever you want to call it, she's getting more TV time than Miro is. You know what I mean? And that's just, there's something not quite right about it, man. Like, for real. Miro is just one big lying cuck. That's it. He's full of shit. You know what I mean? And at this point, I'm over it. I don't know if it's him. I don't know if it's clearly the company. But are they ribbing him by having CJ do more than what he's doing? I just don't get it. Do they hate the guy?
I can't even answer that because he's a guy who you could very easily, I think, there's been a number of times where you could make money with the guy and they just don't want to. I don't know if this is a situation where he has a certain amount of time that he contractually has to be on TV. So he just gets his time in. And then every other moment, he's like, I'm not fucking coming. No, I'm not coming into work. I'm not coming into work. Fuck you. I already did my contractually obligated minutes this month or whatever. But that's what it comes across as. It's like, he doesn't want to be there.
How long has he been signed with this company for now, guys? It's been a few years.
Yep.
How many times have we seen him on television, you think, all up? Honestly. 20 times?
Yeah. It's been more than that, but it feels like it. Feels like about 20. I don't know. Maybe it's just the fact that he probably found out pretty soon after that the grass wasn't necessarily greener, but because he may or may not have been vocal about that, maybe in public and maybe in private, that they're just like, all right, well, you can just sit off TV and we won't worry about you. And then that's it. I don't know why you don't just release people like that and save the cap space, so to speak. But that's how wrestling is. So who knows? In reality, for the more people feel like they want to jump ship back over to WWE, there's not a lot of room for you, despite the fact that they look like they're very clueless on how to fill their TV time. It still feels like there's way too many people there. So I don't know if it's not necessarily better to just do your best where you're at, for similar money, but that could play a part in it. I don't know. Maybe that has something to do with it. It could be some pettiness here, but either way, it's not that interesting. And even if it was interesting, you're still not getting very much of it. It's just a few seconds a week. So not really getting the max value out of it either.
It feels very
maximize your own minutes. Like maximize your own minutes though. When you're on the fucking TV screen, come across as a star.
Yeah.
Sonic the Hedge Rat says he misses the professionals of WWE.
Professionalness, I think, is what he was trying to say. But
or is it professionalness?
Yeah, but then again, it's like that maybe is a different regime, but that professionalness fired your ass. And they fucked with you before that. They're like, oh, you have a hot wife. Well, now she's going to make out with Dolph Ziggler all the time. And Bobby Lashley and all this other bullshit.
And she's going to straight up.
And Enzo.
Yeah, this guy. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, you want to go back to that?
I wouldn't. You know what? I'll do video game character in this ridiculous company for the same amount of money and not have my wife be considered a, Jezebel. All right. Well, let's go ahead and grade this bitch and get the fuck out of here inside of 2 hours, guys. I'm going to go ahead and say that this episode of Collision is deserving of a C-. There was a couple of matches on here that I didn't mind. Andrade and Bryan did a pretty good job. I think whatever the injury thing was at the end. And also Daniel Bryan constantly hurting himself is, concerning. Other than that, there was a few people on here that I like. There was a few, promos that were decent, and the rest of it was pretty much garbage. 2.0 don't deserve to be on television. If you can't make room for a Miro match, don't make room for 2.0. And that's about my thoughts on this. It's about a C-. There was some good stuff. There was some bad shit. I was relatively okay with the fact that I had watched it and spent the 2 hours to see it. Let's go with Vet first. What's your score?
It's a D-, and that is a soft D-. It really wants to be an F. What brought it up from a hard F is the match quality. You had a good opener for what it was, a good women's match. You had a good main event. I didn't want to see any of those matches. So that hurts it. And then the fact that we had to see not only 2.0 backstage with Swagger talking, but you also had to watch a match with them. So it took all the goodness that this show had to offer just to drag it out of F territory into a D-.
Yeah, good deal. Jimmy, what's your letter grade for the night?
I would say D with what Vet said, but I'm going to say C- because I'm going to see myself out of this shit. So I'll say C-. And like you guys said, great opening match, if you want, and I use that term lightly. Great main event. Again, I use that term lightly, but these AEW standards. In-ring work was good. Everything else, I'm not too sure about because it's the little things that really disturb me with this company and the show. So, I'll say C-.
Yeah, right on. Well, that's going to do it for the Wreckage this week. Let's go with Jimmy first. Jimmy, if the people want to hear more from what you have to say, where can they find you?
Well, if you aren't sick of me already, because we've been doing show after show for the last few days, but you can follow me on the X at DJ MassFX, and you can follow us at the PWC Network. Like and subscribe right here at channelattitude.com with $5. Not only do you get the realest talk in pro wrestling, but also the best. HaminMediaGroup.popping.com and the PWC Network.popping.com, where you can find all our other shows. And yeah, man, we've been everywhere, guys. So, yeah, that's about it for me.
Right on, right on. Well, Vet, where can the people find you? And if they want to hear any of the opinions that you might have, how would they do that?
Well, the best way to hear the opinions that I have, well, actually, you probably won't hear them because I have them. I'm not the opinion distributor or, the opinion giver. I'm more the opinion haver for the most part. But on social media, I will be at opinion haver. So you can solicit my opinions there, I suppose, if you'd like. You could ask me my opinion of something. You can at opinion haver on all social media platforms. You could find me every Wednesday, 8 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Eastern for the next level wrestling review of Big Right Hernandez. We'll probably have to talk about Deadline Wednesday. I'm looking forward to watching that, but I'm going to do it. And then you're going to find me every Monday at 6:30 p.m. Pacific, 9:30 p.m. Eastern for the Impact Attack with Brandon, where we talk about TNA wrestling. And they were down at AAA for this past taping, so you're gonna see a lot of we're gonna see Mexican Moose is gonna be on that one, and it should be exciting. And then there's that. And check out I know you guys would love this. I tell you to check out Wrestling with Rib Rogers all the time. Now I know you guys probably don't always do it, but if you following up that excellent Mark Henry interview, this week they had Ace Steel on there. Ooh. So who's more topical right now than CM Punk? And this is the guy that brought him in and taught him most of what he knows about the actual wrestling business and not the backyard wrestling business. So you hear lots of fun stories and stuff with Ace Steel for another 2 hours on Wrestling with Rib Rogers. Great time. Can't put it over enough, and goddamn it, it's free. It's not like you have to sign up for something. You just get a free 2-hour Ace Steel interview with Rib Rogers. So what are you guys doing? Check that out. And then, as for anything else, Stevie Richards always doing stuff, posting stuff, adding videos. He probably did something while we were on the air here, but Stevie Richards Wrestling Analysis, Stevie Richards Fitness, Stevie Richards Tech Channel, big fitness show with Stevie Richards and Big Mike Barons, just so many things. So follow him at all those things.
Yeah, awesome. Shout out to Stevie. He's just a legitimately good dude and deserves all of the success that he gets and more. You can find me, if you'd like to, at Twitter. Yes, Twitter, you fucking assholes. It's still Twitter. At Chris Ambs 1. You can go there to see all of my everything I have to say about pro wrestling, politics, and everything else. You can find me right here on the HMG and channelattitude.com for this show and Rampage Uncaged. You can also find Jimmy and I's review of Deadline if you want to get some notes for your conversation about Deadline. Vet, you can listen to the opinions that we have.
Yeah, I'll just steal all your guys' shit and then regurgitate it.
That's cool.
Sorry, it was a flat line, put it that way.
Ooh. Yeah. It was not a good show. I feel bad that you're going to have to watch that now. But you can also find me on the PWC Network, where me and Jimmy have a number of shows, specifically our flagship, The Skirmish, which is our Wednesday night review of Dynamite. You can find us over there. And like I said, like I always say, if you want, you can try to find me in Lake of the Woods, Ontario, Canada. But there are 14,000 islands. Good luck.
And 14 million trees.
But billions and billions and billions of trees.
What, all in one backyard? Come on.
All in my backyard.
I kid you not, Vet. It's true. You got to show him one day. I swear.
It's the backyard, but they're not wrestling. Ha ha! All right. Anyway, yeah. Subscribe.
No Ethan Page match viewings?
No.
No?
Subscribe for $5 a month. It is the easiest, is the best investment of $5 you can possibly make in professional wrestling. Right here, channelattitude.com. Other than that, goodbye, good night, ole.
Peace.